Oh god.
Oh,
Oh, well that looks really uncomfortable. Hi kids! Hello!
Linda just licked my mouth.
Lovely.
Oh, gross.
That's not sanitary. Wash your hands. Remember to wash your hands. No, this is a bit of a exercise for you to do because you're homeschooling at the minute. So, what we first of all need you to do before we tell you what it is pause the video and go and get a notepad and a pen and paper. Pause the video, or you shouldn't be able to hear me. Okay, are you back now? Okay, good. So, what is it that you're going to be doing?
Baking a loaf of bread from absolute scratch.
Absolute scratch.
Absolute scratch.
You bought the flour and stuff though.
I did buy the flour, yeah. I've not milled my own flour. Not this time.
So, we're going to watch Kat make a loaf of bread, and then while you're watching it, I need you to make notes like you were at school, because afterwards there's going to be a little test. Won't be too difficult, be a bit of fun, but it's to see if you're listening and watching properly and understanding what's going on. So, we'll start by the magic of movies.
First things first, most importantly, is wash your hands. Wash your hands. Make sure they're very clean. So your first ingredient that goes in your mixing bowl is flour, or bread flour if you can get some. And you need 500 grams of that. So just weigh it up into a bowl on your weighing scales. Lovely stuff. Then the magic ingredient of bread, yeast.
Ooh.
You'll see what yeast does later on, but it's quite impressive.
Without the yeast, the bread doesn't work, does it?
No, it doesn't rise. And then you also need a couple of teaspoons of salt, not loads, just a little bit. And then you need to make a hole in the middle of the bread mixture and put in 3 tablespoons of oil. It can be olive oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, any sort of oil you've got in the house.
Can it be engine oil?
No, it has to be edible. And then 300 mils of water, can be just normal cold water out the tap, that's no problem. And then fold it in all together gently, don't throw it around or you'll get flour all over the place, which I did anyway, but never mind. And you want to keep mixing that together until it all sort of sticks together nicely and turns into a lovely big ball of dough. Dough ball.
How long do you do this for?
As long as it takes.
Oh, okay.
And then once it's a nice smooth ball of dough, you want to lightly flour the worktop, and that stops your dough from sticking to your work surface while you are kneading it.
Cover it in flour, kids.
And then kneading the dough is a really important process, and it takes 10 whole minutes to do it properly. It takes ages and it's quite tiring. So I imagine you'll get bored of this bit real quick. So you just basically use your knuckles to stretch and fold the dough back in over itself, over and over and over again.
And that's called what?
Kneading.
Kneading the dough.
Yeah, kneading.
So dough is needing to be kneaded?
Kneading.
Okay.
It needs kneading.
Good.
And here it's happening very quickly. Yeah. More kneading, more kneading.
Is it hard work? Does it hurt your arms?
Not so much really, but it is a bit tiring after 10 minutes. Then you just want to oil the bowl slightly, just rub a little bit of oil on the inside like that, and then your dough's going to go in there to prove. And proving is where it goes into a warm place for about an hour, and you want it to double in size, and this is where the yeast comes in.
So you put it in a warm place, like as is on top of our boiler. You could put it in an airing cupboard or near a radiator. Yeah.
It does also work at normal temperature and in the fridge, but it takes a lot longer. So it will happen whether it's warm or not. but if you want to pop them quickly, then put it somewhere warm.
Can you see it rising? That is amazing. Oh, so, go on.
And so after that is when you put it in your final baking tray. So mine's going into a loaf tin, but it can go on a baking tray or bread rolls or something like that. And you want to form it into the rough shape that it's going to be, cover it in a little bit of cling film so it doesn't get any dust or anything on it, and then you want to put it back in the warm place to prove again. And it wants to be twice the size it was before it went in.
So what is the yeast doing there?
The yeast is reacting with the sugars and the liquids in the bread, and it is creating gases inside the dough, which is making it rise and making it puff out like that. So
without the yeast, the bread doesn't rise.
It will just be flat. And there are some breads that don't use yeast as well, so pizza dough, pita bread, that kind of thing.
Flatbreads.
Flatbreads, exactly.
So if you want big bread, you got to have yeast.
Exactly. So here it's been in the oven for about half an hour at 200 degrees and it is cooked. And we tell that it's cooked because when we turn it upside down, we give it a little tap on the bottom, and if it sounds hollow, then that means it's ready. And then you just need to leave it to cool for about 10-15 minutes and it's delicious.
Hello. This is the very super serious test part. So, get a fresh piece of paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions for you. So, write your answers down on your paper, and then when you've done them, get a photo and send it over to me, and I'll tell you what your score is. Okay? So, question number 1. What do you do first before you do any cooking? Question number 2. To make bread, you need yeast, but what does yeast do? Number 3. How much yeast do you need for 1 loaf of bread? Number 4. When you've mixed the mixture for the dough together, you have to do something to it for 10 minutes. What is that? Number 5. Where do you put the dough to help it rise? Number 6. How hot do you have your oven? And number 7. What do you wear on your hands to take things out of a hot oven? That is your 7 questions. I hope you have all done very well in your test. I should be very disappointed if I've spent this long making a video for you and you either don't watch it or you don't get all the questions correct. I'm very super serious right now. I love you all. I'll see you soon.